Hey, everybody out there. A listener wrote in and wants me to fix their English today. They want to talk about going out in a social setting, going for dinner, hanging out with friends, and drinking alcohol. This listener has made some mistakes when trying to tell this story in English to other people. So, let's help him fix his English today on the Social English Podcast, English Repair Shop. Let's get started.
皆さんこんにちは。毎日少しずつ社交に使える英語の上達を目指すソーシャルイングリッシュポッドキャストへようこそ。今日はぜひもっと自信を持って英会話してみましょう。 Are you ready, Percy? Let's go.
Why, thank you, Hikari. Yes, I am ready and excited for today's episode. Okay? I really love to talk about English and help people. Yokso, welcome. Konnichiwa, welcome. And to my Spanish-speaking listeners, buenos tardes, buenos dias. Okay. This is the Social English Podcast that you are listening to. My name is Percy once again, and this is the podcast to learn real social English. English used in social situations. This podcast has different episodes. Today we have a theme of English Repair Shop where I help listeners. If you can understand English a little, if you could understand English a lot, it's all okay. These episodes are for you because together you and I are going to help someone get better at understanding, listening to, and speaking real social English. Okay, so before we get started helping fix this English, I'd like you to please listen to my friend Ko, who's going to talk about how we do these episodes for my Japanese listeners. Here we go.
すべての英語修理店のエピソードと同様に4つのパートがあります。パート1では英語を勉強している日本人が間違って言ったことを正確に聞くことができます。パート2では会話型のソーシャルイングリッシュスタイルで正しい英語を聞くことができます。パート3ではパーシーはあなたが同じ過ちを犯さないようにするために彼が重要だと考えるヒントをあなたに与えます。パート4でパーシーは正しい英語版を高速で自然な速度で言います。このようにしてネイティブの速度で英語を聞く練習をすることもできます。
Okay, everybody. Welcome back. That was the instructions. Today, okay, for these, actually for all, not just today, for all of these English Repair Shop episodes, what I like to do is I want to talk or speak the wrong English first in part 1. So part 1 is wrong English. Part 2 is social English in a conversational English style. Okay? That is conversational style. It will be slow. The slow version in conversation style. Okay? English is very interesting. So there are many ways to say correct English. So I will give you 2 or 3 versions of clear, correct social English and a slow version. Part 3. In part 3, you will get my tips, my hits, my tricks, ways to not make these mistakes. And in part 4, you will get what they call fast English. I will say the correct English one more time, the correct social English, but this time I will say it in a normal, natural, native speed, okay? So that way you can hear what it would sound like at native speed, okay? Are you ready? Well, let's go ahead and let's get started with part 1. This is the wrong English. Let's get going. I'm too tired to cook dinner after work because I went out to have dinner and dancing last night. Too much alcohol I had. It was a definitely fun though. Anyway, what am I going to eat? What's your dinner tonight? Okay, so I'll go ahead and let me read that once more. Here it is one more time. This is exactly the wrong English, okay? Please listen for mistakes. The second time right now, please listen for mistakes and how you would fix these mistakes. How would you fix these mistakes? Please listen. I'm too tired to cook dinner after work because I went out to have dinner and dancing last night. Too much alcohol I had. It was a definitely fun though. Anyway, what am I going to eat? What's your dinner tonight? Okay? So that is the wrong English. Please take about 10 seconds. Think about how you would say this, how you would fix this. Then you can listen to me in part 2 and hear the social English version. Let's go. Okay, so that was about 10 seconds. I hope you've thought of some ways. So let me go through this. Here is part 2. This is the correct English, slow speed in a social English manner. How to speak this social English way, okay? Okay. I was too tired to cook dinner after work today because I went out for dinner and dancing last night. I had way too much alcohol, but it was definitely a fun time. Anyways, I just can't think about what I should eat. Do you have any ideas? What are you going to eat for dinner tonight? Okay, so that was the correct English in a social English style, in a social English way. So what I'm going to do now next is I'm going to give you a correct English again. This is correct social English, but this will be a different version 2. Okay? So please listen listen to the different version. Okay? Correct but different. Here we go. I'm way too tired to cook dinner today. Last night, I went out, had dinner, and dancing, and I am just too tired. I drank way too much. Even though I got wasted, it was a great time. I'm still having problems figuring out what I'm going to eat today. You got any ideas? Okay, so that was a much longer conversation. Okay, using social English, some slang in there to talk about some things. So let's go about that. Let's go into that in part 3. Part 3, we're going to do the social English. Here's my hints, tips, and tricks. So let's get started with part 3. Okay, so here, I'm too tired to cook. Basically, after work, you should take out after work, or you should use because before after work, or you should use after work before you say I'm too tired. You could say because it explains a little bit. It's a little bit easy to understand for English listeners, English ears, English listening people. It's easier to communicate, to understand your meaning. Okay, so you can say after work I was too tired to cook dinner because blah 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 blah. Okay, so you can you want to use the reason why first in English most times. Okay, but yeah, so that's why that's wrong. It's a little bit confusing. Okay, now the next one, second tip. Let's look at too much alcohol I had. Okay, too much alcohol I had. An easy way to say this is again, this is backwards, reverse. You should say, I had too much alcohol. Time. I had too much alcohol. Time. Time meaning yesterday, last night, last month, this morning, an hour ago. So use too much alcohol. No. I had too much alcohol. Time. Okay. Now, here's a quick hint on top of that. I used a slang word, wasted. I got wasted. I was wasted. Waste was being the past tense. The reason I using wasted is because, remember, in real conversation, in real social English, not conversation with a teacher or an eikaiwa at a conversation school, but in real conversations, people like, especially Westerners and people from America, the UK, Australia, we like slang. Okay, so in America, we really love using slang words more than anything. And you should know slang. Slang is new words or interesting, fun ways to say standard words, different words. So instead of too much alcohol, okay, drinking too much alcohol, okay, meaning you drink so much alcohol, you have a headache or something like this, we say wasted. Okay? We say, I got wasted. Okay? So here's a few. I'd say this is American slang, okay? But other countries use this sometimes. Wasted, okay? In America, we say wasted. I was bent. I was lit. Something like that. I got so wasted last night. Oh, I was bent last night. Oh, I was too lit last night. Okay. So this means I had too much to drink. I drank way too much alcohol, something like that. Okay. So, in the UK based slang, meaning the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, Wales, of course, Australia, New Zealand, they say pissed. I got pissed. I was pissed. Okay, which is means something completely different in North American English. So Canada, United States, and our language, pissed means very, very angry. So that's where there's confusion between UK English and US English a lot of times. So, but it's funny because English and language is fun to learn and it's interesting. Okay, so let's go with the last thing I want to talk about with these tips. We have, what's your dinner tonight? Okay, so now I want to talk about, again, this is conversation. This is social English. We're talking to someone. Picture, I want you to think about you talking to someone, talking to me right now. And I talking to you. I would never say, what's your dinner tonight? Okay? How are you? Hey, what's up? How are you doing? Oh, I'm great. What are you doing today? Oh, I'm just going to go home, watch some TV, and cook some dinner. Oh, okay. What's your dinner tonight? No. That is very strange English. So what I would say is, in that way, conversation, I would say, so what are you having? What are you making? Okay. What's good to eat? Maybe something like that. It depends on who I'm talking to. But, and remember, I talked about an earlier podcast about social circles and how your English changes depending on who you are talking to, especially your social English. Okay. So, there's a lot to English, but it's fun to learn and it's fun to use. So let's move on to part 4. And here in part 4, I'm going to give you the fast English and a fast English speed of the correct social English. Okay, so here we go. After work yesterday, I was too tired to cook because I went out and had dinner and dancing last night. I had way too much alcohol and I was wasted. But you know what? I had a great time though. I just can't figure out what I'm going to eat. How about you? What are you going to eat? You got any ideas?
5つ星のレビューをぜひお願いします。
今日は楽しい時間をありがとうございました。ぜひ私たちのウェブサイトrealsocialenglish.com を訪問して日本語訳と役立つ情報を手に入れてください。また次
So,
回お
I
会い
know
しま
that
し
you
ょう。
thought about how
Bye-bye.
you would
See you next
fix
time.
these
Bye-bye.
same problems, these same issues, in the way you would speak. Try to speak natural English, okay? Be confident. Believe in yourself. You can do this. Relax. Have fun. Share your ideas. Share what you're thinking. Share your culture and who you are. Be open and friendly. Now, for today's action item, what I'd like you to do is I want you to talk about a time that you went out and maybe something happened. Maybe you got drunk, had too much to drink, and got wasted. Maybe you were bent, lit, or pissed. I don't know. Maybe you were. So tell me a story. Tell me a story, or not tell me. Tell a friend, or you could tell me. You could leave the story on Twitter, or our Instagram page. Leave me a direct message, and I will check it out. But on Twitter, check me out at Social English for Japanese. You could leave it there. But I want you to speak, to practice speaking. So look in the mirror, watch how your mouth is opening and closing, form the words, and practice my slow version, or slow in part two. Part two, pick one version of slow, correct social English and talk about this story, okay? And then I want you, again, to make your own version, talk about your story, something that happened to you in real life, and make it very fun and interesting. Okay, so that's it for today's episode of the Social English Podcast. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate you. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Special shout out and appreciation for a 5-star review. If you give me a 5-star review, I will list you by name and put you on the website and the podcast page as a special listener, okay? A special and valued listener. So that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Peace and love. See you in the next episode.